So yeah. So we'll use just a generic random student. So for marking period 1, they have an E. How much of an E, though?
Like a 52%.
Okay. They have a 52%. I'm going to make it a 50 to keep the math easy. They have a 50%. That's an E. It's a lower E. It's not the worst E possible. They got half the points they could get. Okay. Marking period 2, let's do 60%. What do they need on the final? Because they want their final grade to be a... Let's say that in order to get ungrounded, they need at least a C. Now, I'll be honest, I'm a little nervous about this because this one might not work out. I don't like my first example being an impossibility, but let's see what we get. Now, these are their scores. If everything is weighted evenly, then I'd be saying, well, 50 plus 60 plus something divided by 3 has to give me 70. And I can figure that out. But when we talk about weighted averages, I need to know what the weights are. I may or may not have mentioned this before, so let's just review it. The weights. Our marking period 1 is worth 40%. Marking period 2 is also worth 40%. And your exam is worth 20%. In other words, it's worth a lot, but it's not worth as much as either of the 2 marking periods. Shoot.
Now, how would you know that percentile with the weight?
The weights?
Yeah.
You have to be told them. You have to know. Yeah, you have to know the weights.
And those are ours.
This is how we do it. Actually, the 40-40-20 is pretty much standard for all high schools. The only exception is some high schools will shift the final exam down to 10% and do 45-45-10 in order to make the final exam a little less painful. I've never seen a high school do more than 20% on the final. Almost all high schools do final exams as a part of that build up towards college, and to establish that the final exam is your way of going, I studied algebra for a whole semester, I get it. Or on the flip side, I went to an algebra class for the entire semester, I don't get it. No, I mean that's what your exam is really all about, documenting what you got and don't got. Well, 50 questions on ours. So about 10 questions per chapter. That's not bad. So let's go ahead and put down the equation we've been playing with before. Score 50 times weight, 0.40. That's the 40%. Score 60 times the weight, 0.40. Plus score, I don't know it, times the weight, 0.2. My goal is to have a final score of 70. Now we're really asking a lot when you think about this. This is a kid who has an E and a D minus who wants to get up to a C minus. That's a pretty big jump just on something that's very low weight. If the final weighted more, this might be more believable. Let's see how this kid's going to do, though. Let's clean up this side of the equation. So 50 times 0.4 is 20. 60 times 0.4 is 24. Times 0.2x equals 70. Now I can solve that equation, can't I? Combine like terms. 44. What's what? This is plus x times 0.2, so plus 0.2x. Subtract 44 from each side, so I don't have anybody complain that I'm not showing all my steps. I feel I'm running out of paper here. 0.2x is going to equal 26. Divide by 0.2. Now remember, when you divide by a decimal, your number goes up. let's see here. 26 divided by 0.2. Uh-oh. That doesn't bode well. He has to get 130% on his final to get a C- in the class. No, don't be dissing the calculations here, folks. This is what the math is bearing out. This is not necessarily a good thing for this kid. Now, I don't encourage you guys to do this going into your final because I don't want you guys to get depressed, but there's a certain amount of realism now. Is it possible for this kid to get himself up to a C- with his previous track record? Only if there are 30 extra credit points on the final, and before you ask, no, there's no extra credit on my final. Yes?
Is there a way to bring up a grade and what it is
No.
now? Like this, or...
Well, there's the second BA we're taking the day of the final. That could help bring your grade up too. And the quiz,
Which is what, tomorrow?
which is on Tuesday. There are still 2 more grades in this marking period to help you out. Well, we'll worry about that when we get to it. Hey, guys. All right. Take a look at the way I set this formula up. This is one of the things you have to be able to do. We're going to practice that as part of our stuff today. All right, let me do one more. Let me stop this.